This Week in High School Sports is sponsored by Red Onion Burgers and Mountlake Terrace. We're with the owner, Sean Richards. Sean, while I enjoy a delicious smokehouse barbecue panini, tell us a little bit about the Dining for Dollars program.
Every Tuesday from 5 to 8 p.m., we do a Dining for Dollars program with local charities and nonprofit organizations, schools, churches, that kind of stuff. And what we wind up doing is we give 20% of our sales between 5 and 8, 100% of our cash tips, and then we also give 50% of our credit card tips. And we write checks anywhere from $300 to $1,500 per event. And so far, we've given over $150,000 back to the community.
They're not just about food. They're all about community here at Red Onion Burgers in Mountlake Terrace. Welcome to This Week in High School Sports. Teresa Whipple's off on vacation this week, but I am not alone. We've got a great group of guests coming in this week for interviews. But first, let's get to a little bit of the latest news. We'll start off with softball. And much like it's been all season long, all four of our Edmonds School District teams occupy the top four spots in the Wesco 3A South standings. And the two teams at the top of the heap, it's Edmonds-Woodway, followed by Meadowdale, one game separating them. However, Meadowdale hosting Edmonds-Woodway this Friday at 4 p.m. It's a chance for the Mavericks to tie them in the standings. And speaking of the Mavericks, we've got a shirt to give away. Kate Houghton, sophomore pitcher for Meadowdale. She threw a no-hitter last week against Arlington, and in doing so, she wins our Action Jackson Plumbing Player of the Week t-shirt. Kate, this shirt is yours. We've got it coming your way. And we're not done talking softball yet. Mountlake Terrace, 7-6 in league play. They've got some big games coming up this week. They've got a pretty darn good catcher, too. She's only a sophomore, and she knows the starting catcher for the Mountlake Terrace baseball team fairly well, too. She should. It's her older brother. The catching Bingamans, Jamie and Dan, in studio. Here's the interview we did with them. Joining us this week, the catchers for the Mountlake Terrace High School softball and baseball teams, who just happen to be brother and sister. It's the catching Bingamans with us. Dan is a senior, and he plays for the Mountlake Terrace baseball team. Jamie, a sophomore, and she is with the softball team. First question, and it begs to be asked, coincidental that you are both catchers, or how does that come about, Dan? Were you planning on being a catcher from day one?
I would say it's out of my hands. You know, our father, he was a catcher too when he played, and I think he...
State champion in high school, no big deal.
Yeah, and yeah, he definitely influenced us in that direction for sure.
So when Dad plays baseball, which was at Blaine, I believe, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
And he was a catcher, state champion. I guess, Jamie, did you have any choice, or were you was it something you just...
I started to in Little League, coach pitch. I did it because it was pretty easy. I just had to run back and forth and go get the ball, and I just never stopped until I remember I started playing softball for Alderwood Little League, and I threw out my first runner, and it was just, I never wanted to stop after that.
That was kind of the moment where you just fell in love with the art of catching, per se? Dan, did you have a moment where you realized, hey, this is a lot of fun, and I want to keep doing this?
I don't know if it was a certain moment, but I just know I was just better at that position than I was any other position, really, but no specific moment, really.
Now, catching is more of an art too. It's a lot of technique based, and it's not as though you just grab your glove and go run into the outfield and get ready to catch fly balls. There's a little more to it than that. Dan, do you enjoy that element of catching? Is it something that you hone your skills on and are constantly working on?
Yeah, it's something, I think the best part about it being, you're involved in every pitch, like something about me is that, I'm very energetic, so I can't really stand being out on the other side of the field for very long without, tensing up or something like that. But yeah, very skills-based, more so than I would say any other position. That's what I love about it. It's just a great challenge, really.
And Jamie, if I understand correctly, the two of you work with a catching coach also on the side, and it's the same coach.
Yeah,
for
same
baseball?
time, same hour.
Yep.
Him for a half hour and me for a half hour.
Yep.
Yeah.
So when the two of you are in there together, are you kind of coaching each other up at the same time? If perhaps the coach is working with Dan, are you standing there watching, giving him pointers and vice versa, or how does that work?
A lot of times we kind of help each other out. Like if we're doing throwdowns, we'll be a target and stuff when we shag balls. But we still get lots of information from the other person too.
Exactly.
So as far as when you're practicing, do you go in the backyard and work on catching skills together, or is it something that the two of you are able to kind of share? Obviously, the two sports are a little bit different, but really, more or less, they're the same, Dan. So are you able to kind of do things just on the side just to kind of get each other ready?
Yeah, like a great tool we have at our home is that we have a batting cage in our backyard, so we can always fire up the pitching machine, do some receiving, hit some balls, anything like that. Always help us get better.
Is the pitching machine equipped to do softball and baseball?
Oh, we have two of them.
Okay, one for each then. Okay.
Yeah.
So Jamie, for you, you mentioned to me also that Dan has helped catch the some of the girls in the bullpen as well, right?
Oh yeah, that's lots of fun. So like we went to Vegas recently, and in between games, it's pretty hot, and to give other girls a break, Danny helped catch warm-up pitchers in between games, or like sometimes for my select team, he'll come and catch bullpens for us. Just lots of fun.
Dan, since you are the one who's helped warm up the bullpen out there for softball, and then you're a catcher in baseball, talk about some of the differences and some of the similarities to catching both sports.
I think the biggest difference that a lot of people don't understand is that even though the softball pitchers don't throw as hard as the baseball players, they at a closer distance it looks a lot faster, and especially how there's so many different ways you can a pitcher can manipulate the ball as a pitcher, make it move different ways, and I think it's a lot different than baseball. Do
some of the girls kind of mess with you a little bit, knowing that maybe you're not used to seeing the riser, and do they get out there and throw you pitches that you're not used to seeing? Yeah, I've seen I think one or two girls ever throw like a rise ball or some, and it's just that's something I don't quite understand how that works, but sometimes I just have to catch it. Now, catching is difficult on the body. You're constantly crouched down, knees, back. You hear things in terms of Major League Baseball players not able to play every game or need to take days off and whatnot. But the two of you keep pretty busy. You both catch for the high school teams. You both play select ball, and you're both catchers in select. Jamie, do you ever get tired or sore, or think that, hey, maybe I should take a few games out in the outfield for a while just for a change? Or?
Oh boy. Well, I never really get sore until the next day. I mean, I'll get maybe a little tired towards the end, but as long as we have any long innings, I'm totally good to go. I love catching. I'm so happy I can catch every inning. As far as high school season, there's only a couple games a week, and then that's fine. I can do that all the time. I mean, state last year, that was rough. 18 innings in one day. That's the most taxed I've ever been, but it was fun. I'm so glad I got to do it. It's totally worth it. Like, during the game, in the pitches, I don't notice how sore or hot I am. It's just, it's so much fun.
Adrenaline's flowing and you're in the moment. Dan, for you, I understand you had a tournament, a select tournament down in Vegas where you caught 10 games in 7 days?
Oh, yeah, in San Diego. There was
San Diego, yeah.
Going into that tournament, I was the only catcher in the team, and I feel like I just kind of took responsibility in that role and really just gave it my 110%, and I ended up doing great.
And your knees weren't sore? The back was okay after the games?
Yeah, I think I was just having too much fun to ever realize, I was ever in any pain. Maybe when I got home, I might have felt a little something, but, it felt great, really.
Hey, if you can do it, keep it going. They're young. They can get away with that. As far as going to each other's games, how supportive are you of one another, both at the high school level and select? Jamie, do you get a chance to go out to a lot of the baseball games?
I do. I love going to his baseball games. Lots of fun. He's really funny, especially in the dugout. He says some funny stuff. I love watching him play. It's like when he gets a good block or something, it's just so exciting.
And Dan, what about you when you're watching little sister out there?
I love watching Jamie play because I see a lot of things I see us work on a lot, and then I just find it awesome how she really takes it to heart and brings it into the game.
So tell me a little bit about each other's game. Jamie, about Dan. What kind of a catcher is he? What are some of his strengths as a baseball player?
He can block anything. It's so much fun to watch him. He can just, if it's too far, he can get a glove on it. He has such a strong arm. It's so much fun to watch him. And nothing gets by him.
And Dan, what about Jamie?
I think attribute to catching that is very overlooked is the ability to be a leader and communicate with your teammates. And what Jamie does is she's just so loose and social with her pitchers and her teammates. And as a catcher on any team, you're really the glue of the team in many ways, and she definitely sort of solidifies that role.
One of the challenges we've talked about with other athletes, and we've had our share of siblings come into the studio over the last couple of years. A lot of times when they're playing at the same time, mom and dad have to make decisions. They're not always sure how are we going to get to one athlete's game or which one do we miss this particular day. Jamie, you were telling me earlier, mom has a color-coded chart, correct?
Color-coded calendar. My games are in blue or something. His games are in red. It's got a work schedule on it. And then our mom and our dad talk it out and see who gets to go to which games, depending on like if it's home or away, if she has to work or not. They figure it out. They have a system.
Dan, do you check the calendar? Are you always kind of curious as to which parent's going to be where that day?
You know, I look at it sometimes like, oh, I can't handle this right now. So it's interesting. You know, I love how our parents are just very into our sports. You know, I'm always grateful for it, and I love them for that.
And we were talking to your dad off camera, and Jamie, he mentioned that there have been a couple times this year where the baseball and the softball teams are playing at the same time, and you two have been at bat simultaneously, and he's actually found a place to watch both of you bat at the same time, correct?
Yeah. So in the outfield, there's he goes up a little bit up the top of a hill, and there's a parking lot, and he just sits on his tailgate in the truck. And then one time he just looked over the side, and he was at bat, and I was at bat. Yeah, what a coincidence.
And Dan, I'm guessing that at the time neither one of you knew that, though, correct?
Oh, no.
So
No.
I had no idea until a little bit ago.
Dad's out there doing his thing, and you guys are just playing baseball and softball. Hey, as far as the playoffs, which are coming up soon for both of you, Dan, you sooner rather than later. It's this week. Jamie has one leg up on you, so to speak. She made it to the state tournament last year as a softball team. Is there any kind of competitiveness between the two of you? Is it good-natured, or are you both supportive of each other?
I mean, yeah, we're very supportive of each other. You know, she never like rubs it in my face. You know, I'm so proud of her and her team for making it there. But you know, last year's last year. So yeah, this year we're looking to make a big run into state. You know, the biggest difference between last year's tournament and districts. You know, I think it was top 2 or 3 made it to state, and then from the district tournament this year it's the top 4. So there's the bigger pool for people that get to move up to that tournament. You know, and we're hoping to make the most of it.
Well, it's interesting because your baseball team has to play a loser-out play-in game on Tuesday this week. You're playing at home against Bellingham, 4 o'clock start time. Again, if you lose that game, your season comes to an end on Tuesday. If you win, you go into a double elimination district tournament to try to get to state. Good news is that Bellingham has struggled this year. They've only won 3 games. Bad news is that on one day, anything can happen. Have you and your teammates already started talking about Tuesday a little bit, and what do we know about Bellingham?
Yeah, you know, last year our team, essentially almost the same team. We were a very senior-heavy team this year, and we were pretty much in the exact same position last year with the loser-out game when we played Cedar Crest last year. You know, with our group, you know, we're very calm, cool, and collected. You know, we trust our ability to play baseball, and looking at Bellingham's record, even though it is, you know, 3-15, we know not to take that for granted because we've seen, you know, not teams with great records, you know, come up and play great ball games.
And if you can win that game, you'll advance to Saturday, which you'll be playing Linden up in Anacortes, and that's always a tough team too. We should also mention last Tuesday was Senior Day at Mountlake Terrace High School, your last regular season game of the year, and consequently they always have a nice little ceremony for you guys, and you went out in style. Team is down to their final out in the 6th inning, so you would have still had the bottom of the 7th, but down 1-0, runners on in first and second base, and you hit a single into right field, which drove in 1 run, and then on an throwing error, scored a 2nd run, and final score was 2-1, so you pretty much had the winning play. I've got to think that was a pretty big thrill on Senior Day for you.
Yeah, you know, I think during that bat, I wasn't really thinking about doing too much. You know, I just like maybe struggling a little bit at the plate the past few games. So like, okay, you know, swing hard in case I hit it right. So had that kind of approach, and luckily it found a hole and had their defense make an error and scored an extra 1 on that play.
And with 8 seniors on the team this year, is it a pretty close-knit group?
Oh, yeah, like with all the kids that, you know, seniors, even a couple of juniors, you know, I've known these kids since, like, I don't know, forever through MTYA baseball. You know, I have some of my best friends on that team, and we're just, like, it doesn't really get much better than that.
And Jamie, for you, again, the softball season extends out a little bit longer, so you still have 4 regular season games coming up. Team is currently 7-6 in league play. You've got 3 very winnable games this week. You still have to go out and win them, but still, nonetheless, Shorecrest, Shorewood, and Lynnwood before you finish off the season against the always tough Middledale Mavericks. But Friday's the big one for you in the sense that it's Senior Day for your team. Now, you're only a sophomore, but I know some of your key players, your key seniors on that team will be experiencing their last game at home. Is it something that's already kind of registered to you guys? Have you and the girls started talking about the fact that the season's coming to an end pretty quick here?
It's crazy. It doesn't feel quite real yet. I mean, I just remember my first couple games last year, they were just so amazing, like so supportive, and I just can't imagine playing without them on that team. It's just they're such a big part of it, but there will definitely be some tears.
And that game will be Friday against Shorewood at home, 4 o'clock start time. And then we start to look towards districts. You guys were the district champs last year. Yeah. Pressure to try to to go back-to-back this year?
I mean, yeah, of course. I mean, that was some of the best games ever played. I mean, I cried my first happy tears when we beat Anacortes on the walk-off. That was just amazing. But yeah, I'm hoping that we do just as good next year.
I know you lost some key players last year too. So
yeah, Kiradone and Gabby.
Kiradone and Gabby Calhoun are no longer there. Is this a team that's capable of getting back to state though?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I mean, last year Kiradone, absolute stud, but I feel like this year we have more of a pitching staff. I mean, we have such a good rotation of a lot of girls that can pitch well. We don't have just one ace. We can have girls that can go, we have more innings because we have lots of girls.
And since you just helped segue it for me, I'm going to ask the question. So it sounds like you're a big Kiradone fan. Big moment last year at the state tournament. After every state game, they always give out a medallion for leadership or the player of the game. And the WIAA gave you the medal last year. They put it around your neck. You immediately took it off and put it around Kira's neck. Tell me about that moment and why you did that.
I mean, she deserved it 100%. I was so surprised they didn't just give it to her right away. I mean, I feel like I got that medal because, I made a couple errors, but also I was exhausted. I can't stop everything after 18 innings, and I feel like she just deserved it so much more. 18 innings, and she just gave 100% every time. Like, people talk about that, but, to actually, see it, her body language is just, amazing and perfect. It's amazing. She totally deserved it.
Dan speaks highly of the character of your sister, too, doesn't it, that she would give that medal to somebody else?
Yeah, I don't think I was there at the game, but I heard about it, and then I was beyond proud of it.
Very nice. And Dan, we should mention again, since you are a senior, plans for next year, would you like to keep playing baseball?
Yeah, of course. There's the local CCs like Shoreline, Everett, and Edmonds. I'm looking more towards Everett because I'm known, a lot of guys I've played with. A mentor of mine, the junior varsity coach at our school, Jacob Sells, who is a alma mater there. He's a great guy, and I hope to go there too.
So we will see. But until then, you've got a big game coming up on Tuesday. Again, Mountlake Terrace versus Bellingham. 4 o'clock start time. We'll see if the Hawks can continue their season. And then the softball team looking to get back to state once again. Dan, Jamie, thank you both for coming in, and best of luck to you this year.
Thank you.
Would like to once again thank the Catching Bingamans for coming into the studio. Dan has a playoff game with his Mountlake Terrace Hawks baseball team on Tuesday. They take on Bellingham for the right to qualify for the 2A district playoffs, which will start on Saturday. But that's not the only team we're going to talk about this week. Baseball, a lot going on right now. The Meadowdale Mavericks, they clinched the 3A South Championship last week, and that gives them the right to advance immediately into the district tournament, which starts on Saturday. Opponent to be determined. Edmonds-Woodway, they're going to have to do a play-in game on Thursday against an opponent to be determined. We think it's either going to be Everett or Stanwood. If they win that game, they also advance to the district playoffs on Saturday. And then the Lynnwood Royals, a team that has had a roller coaster ride of a season so far, starting to play a little bit better as the years progressed. And another team that will be playing a play-in game to try to get into the playoffs this week. Thought we'd bring 3 of their players in to talk a little Royal baseball. Here's the interview we did with them. The Lynnwood Royals baseball team wraps up their regular season this week. They've got a big game coming up on Thursday, a game that will determine whether or not they qualify for the district playoffs. And with us right now, 3 of the members of the Royals baseball team, and I'm just going to go right down the line and have you guys introduce yourselves, the position you play, and what year you are in school.
I'm Riley Eres. I'm a senior. I play second base.
I'm Jacob Goudzwaald. I'm right field and pitcher, and I'm a senior as well.
I'm Carson Speegle. I pitch, catch, and I'm a junior.
So we've got 2 seniors and a junior. And Carson, we're not going to leave you out on this one, but you do have a year left. Got to talk to these 2 guys for a moment because senior day is coming up. We're recording this on Monday night. Tomorrow, 4 o'clock against Meadowdale, your last game at Lynnwood High School. Riley, has it set in yet that the end is near here?
Not really. I'm kind of hoping we got some more games to play afterwards, but it's kind of exciting, but kind of sad at the same time.
And Jacob, is it a bittersweet moment when you get to senior day? Because in a way, it's a time to celebrate the careers, and I know there's usually ceremonies that go along with it, but at the same time, it also means that you're getting ready to play your last home game.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be sad a little bit, but all the memories are going to come back to you, but it's going to be fun. Go out with a bang, hopefully.
So Carson, for the underclassmen, a chance to honor these guys, but at the same time, your career keeps going. Are you excited for them for tomorrow? Is that going to be a big day over at Lynnwood?
Yeah, I've been playing with both of them for the past 10 years, so it's kind of bittersweet to watch them move on and leave.
And how many seniors are we looking at on this team right now, guys?
5.
So who are the other 3 that aren't here tonight?
Blake, Caleb, and Robert.
A strong knit group, guys that have played together for a long time.
We've all played since Little League together.
So it's been a while then. Let's have you guys talk about each other here at the table first before we dive into the rest of the team and talk about who the Royals are. And I'll start with you over there, Carson. Tell me a little bit about Jacob here and what it's like to play with this guy.
So Jake, pitching-wise, I like to catch him the most because I just feel the most comfortable with him. He hits his spots. His curveball is pretty good. And then we just know how each other works through summer ball and everything. And then in the outfield, he's pretty reliable and making diving catches and plays out there.
How important is it to have a good rapport with your catcher as a pitcher?
Oh, it's very good. It's good to trust him back there, and because he knows what he's talking about a lot of the time, so that's helpful.
And then Jacob, tell me a little bit about Riley.
Well, he's a good second baseman, and he plays right field sometimes for me as well when I go in and pitch. But like Carson said, he's for me, but Riley's very reliable. He gets plays done, and he makes them, so that's good.
And Riley, now let's turn it over and talk about Carson a little bit. What do you know about the catcher?
Speegle, whenever he's behind the plate, we always know that there's somebody back there that can do their job and kind of control the field. When he's on the mound, he's always pretty dominant too. I mean, wherever Spiegel's at, if the ball's there, we know that there's somebody that's going to make a play.
So we've got two guys here that pitch. When you guys aren't on the mound, who else is pitching on this team? Jacob, tell me a little bit about the rotation right now.
Usually it's Josh pitches the first game of the week.
And that's Lattimore, correct?
Yeah, Josh
Okay.
Lattimore. And then we haven't found a guy to pitch like the second one, but recently it's been Nick Holmes, and then Carson pitches the third game.
Okay, and then Carson, who do we have coming out of the bullpen right now?
You got Connor Combs and Danny Smith.
Okay, and then the infield. When you're out there at second base, who are you playing out there with?
We got Blake Tabazon at third. We had Nick at short for a while. Now we got Gabe Newsom. And then first base has been switching between Nick Holmes, Caleb Herr, and Danny Smith.
And what are some of the strengths of the infield? What are they doing well right now?
Right now, Blake Tabazon is doing a great job at holding down the corner. He's been doing a great job. And me and Gabe, I mean, we're pretty good buddies, so we kind of know what each other are doing. We got a good chemistry out there. And whoever's at first, they've been doing a great job of picking the ball and keeping it in front of them. So,
Hey, Jacob, for you play a little right field when you're not on the bumps. So tell me a little bit about the outfield.
Well, it's definitely good to have a guy like Connor Combs out there in center because he has definitely, I would say, the best arm on the field. So it's nice to see him throw that thing in there and get people out. And then Paco Boyce, he's always making plays out there, so that's good.
And a new coach this year, right? Andrew Knutson, who I know was a longtime assistant over at Mountlake Terrace. He's the Royals head coach this year. What's that transition been like for you guys? Maybe we'll start with the seniors. Jacob, how's it been to have Coach Knutson out there?
It's been a little different. Towards the beginning, it was a little different, but it was definitely easy to catch on to his coaching style. And practices have been fun. They've been good, very productive. It's been nice to have him as coach.
Has it been a lot different for you, Riley?
yeah, their coaching styles are a lot different. Yeah, they're just very different, but I like Knutson. He's a good coach. He keeps our heads straight. It's just been a fun season with him.
And Carson, I'll ask you the same thing, and I'll maybe take it one step further. As a junior, new coaching staff this year, only 5 seniors on this team. Is there enough to build on to where this team can go a little further into the future too and have some success?
Yeah, I think like the juniors and sophomores that are on varsity, I think we mix well. And then Knutson, he's just like, everyone likes him because he's like a PE teacher. So like we all get along with him, and I think I bonded with him really well.
So the season as a whole, I know it's been a struggle for you guys a little bit. It's a season that we kind of all assumed would be maybe a little bit of a rebuild. You lost a lot of seniors over the last, not just last year, but the year before. 6-win team this year so far, but you guys have really been hanging in there and come close on a lot of games, including a game earlier tonight that you played in against Meadowdale, a 2-1 loss. Jacob, are you starting to feel like this team is gelling at the right time as you're trying to get into the playoffs?
Yes, I definitely feel like we're coming together. It would have been nicer if it was earlier in the season, but better late than never. So it's good that we're doing it now before playoffs, yeah.
Carson, tough non-conference schedule this year, too. You played Juanita, Lake Stevens, and Jackson. Does it help when you play tougher teams in the early going? I mean, obviously, there's a trade-off there. Sometimes teams like to play easier games because they want to get those wins under their belt and build a little momentum. But at the same time, when you start to get ready for playoff baseball, sometimes it's not a bad thing to have those games under your belt, right?
Yeah, all those pitchers from those 3 teams were all really good. I mean, Juanita, they have 2, I think, D1 commits. And then Jackson, their pitchers and players are always like playing at a high pace, so it's fun to see them.
Do you guys all, and I'll just kind of throw this question openly here, favorite moments from the year so far? Any in particular that come to you? Maybe it's an individual moment or a team moment. Riley, do you have one in particular that you look at when you think about 2018?
Not really that I can think of.
Anybody else? Or
I think the game against, was it Stanwood 2 weeks
Oh, I
ago?
was gonna
Right?
say that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was a fun game. We were with the team neck and neck, and then I was able to hit Blake Tablazon in for the winning run, so it was pretty exciting to get that win.
2 years ago, Lynnwood wins the district championship. Big moment for you as you beat Glacier Peak over at Everett Memorial Stadium, I believe. How about moments from that year? You go to state that year, you get a couple games under your belt for at the state tournament. Any particular favorite moments from that experience? I know you guys were young at the time. Carson, you were only a freshman,
Yeah.
but do you have a particular moment from that year that you kind of look back on fondly?
Just like the team bonding we did down there, like just walking around Kelso and then being as a team.
How about you guys? You were sophomores on that team. You played a little bit.
Yeah, it was definitely fun hanging out with the older guys because they had like more experience with it, and they were just fun to be around. And it was fun. We miss them a lot, but
Yeah, guys like Kyler and
Oh yeah, Jared.
Jared and some of the other guys. What was that experience like for you, Riley?
Playing with those guys, especially Kyler, because he's middle infield too, I was able to learn a lot from him. He was always giving me pointers on how to do this better, be able to turn the ball a little bit faster. And it was just, and they're great guys too, so it was great to play next to them for as long as I got to.
So now you got a big game coming up on Thursday. We talked about it already. Senior Day, Tuesday. Thursday's where it all counts. It's an all or nothing game. If you lose that game, your season comes to an end. If you win that game, you get into the double elimination district tournament. We think at this point, as we're doing this recording, that you're probably going to get Snohomish on the road. It's either Snohomish or Marysville-Pilchuck. Either way, both teams are phenomenal.
Yeah.
Have you guys started to plan for that game a little bit? Does it change the way you play the games against Meadowdale earlier in the week?
Yeah, I think it does. Our rotation on Thursday is going to be different than what it usually is, and I think we're just going to get a lot of guys in tomorrow for Meadowdale's game to get pitching reps and stuff.
The fact that the three of you in particular, and maybe some of your other teammates, have had big games in your past, especially from 2 seasons ago when you won the district championship. Jacob, does that help you guys in terms of having your nerves at ease when you go into an all-or-nothing game, a loser-out game on Thursday?
Yeah, I would say it does, because for the people who have gone through it, we kind of remind the other people, like, just regroup, just play like it's another game, so you don't overthink it or anything, and don't do your best, and just relax and have fun out there.
Okay, and so that's it for the Lynnwood baseball side of things. Talking with you guys before the show, there's some interesting storylines up here, and I think we'll start off with I think we got to go right to Jacob, don't we? Jacob, you were an actor once upon a time.
Yes, I
And
was.
you've been in some things that some folks might know about too, which you weren't even going to share with us at first. But now that we kind of got a little more into it and found out, were you in a music video? Is that correct?
Yes, with Billy Ray Cyrus.
And the name of the song is what?
Hope is just ahead.
And Riley, you guys know about this, don't you?
Oh yeah, we know.
How often does this come up in conversation with Jacob?
Pretty often. He tries to hide it quite a bit, so whenever we get a chance to put it in there, we put it in there and have some fun with him for it.
Jacob, what is that like when you've been? So how old were you when you were in the music video?
I want to say 13, possibly. I don't quite remember. I was in 8th grade, so probably 13, yeah. But it was very scary. I've never done anything like that before. It was definitely out of my comfort zone. But the people who I was working with were very nice and helpful, so that was a great experience to work with them.
So doing the interview with us, this is easy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Carson, are you aware of some of these videos?
Yeah.
He's been in a few commercials too, right?
Yeah, that Axe.
The Axe body spray. So tell us about that commercial.
Well, I was the bully at school, and this one girl I was bullying, instead of running away, she kissed me, so it was interesting.
Okay, so there you go. So we're delving way into the life of Jacob here right now, and lots of interesting stuff we might add. So we'll definitely have to pull up those videos and take a look at them. And Riley, you might have a career in another sport along the way here. You're into rodeo.
Yeah, I am.
How does somebody from Lynnwood get into the world of rodeo?
Well, my dad's family was originally from Grand Coulee, and his uncle was big into the rodeo world. He worked for one of the main companies that sponsors the world finals and everything. So my dad always wanted to do it. So when he got into it, then he had me, and it was just something I was kind of born into.
Rodeo is one of those sports where there's different events and different specializations, right?
There's 7 different events in the sport of rodeo.
Do you partake in all of them, or are you involved in one in particular?
I've done a little bit of most of them. I mainly team rope. That's my main one. I do a little bit of steer wrestling, but yeah.
And you're competitive too, right? So you're okay.
It's my main sport. I do it pretty much every weekend from, depending when this baseball season gets over, I'll be gone until the end of September. I'll be gone every weekend.
So what has been your biggest accomplishment so far in the world of rodeo, or has there been one yet?
Last year, I was on track to win the Pacific Northwest for my association, but halfway through the season, I broke my arm, so I had to stop. But I ended up getting 5th in the Pacific Northwest, so that was felt pretty good.
And the arm healed up in time for baseball, so that's a good thing. And these guys are happy about that.
Yeah.
And then Carson, your main claim to fame is you're the team chauffeur on road trips, correct?
Yeah.
What's up with that? Are they? Do you have the biggest truck in the?
I think
on the
everyone
team?
just likes my truck, really.
So it's more of a truck thing.
We like you, Carson.
Yeah,
there we go.
they'll just hop in and play music.
So now, does the team not even need a bus when they go to road games? Do we just hop in Spiegle's truck and everybody's ready to go? Or
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Pretty much,
Like
yeah.
some of the games in Snohomish and Sandwood, we had a bus, but like some of the closer ones like Mountlake Terrace and Mount Deli, definitely go with this guy right here.
And what's going on while Carson's driving? I mean, obviously you guys are well behaved and letting him focus on the road, right?
A lot of singing and dancing.
Yeah.
We have Connor on aux, so that's interesting most of the time.
Okay, what's Connor doing in the?
He's on aux, so he's picking the songs.
Oh, there we go. Okay, so and you're okay with that?
Yeah, for the most part.
It's pretty fun.
Kind of a unique thing too. I guess you're all are into hunting and fishing. You're all outdoors men
Yeah,
too. I mean, that's not something we get very often, especially from the entire group of teammates here. Is it something you guys all do together, or do you kind of do it on your own, or what are we involved with there?
Me and Jake have hunted a little bit before, but for the most part, it's kind of something we do with our families a little bit more. So yeah.
And Carson, what about you? Are you more of a hunter or a fisher?
I mean, I do both, but I like fishing a lot more.
And then we've got Jake over here, who you caught a big turkey this year, I understand.
Yeah, last year I caught the 18th biggest turkey in Washington. I don't think it's still the 18th now, but at the time it was. So I was pretty excited. I got a certificate and a pin from National Wild Turkey Federation. That was pretty cool.
The 18th biggest turkey ever, or the
In
18th
Washington.
In Washington
Yeah,
for that calendar year, or what was that? Or was it,
I think ever.
Ever.
really?
Yeah,
Okay.
ever.
Were you with him when it happened, or you've
I
heard all
wasn't, but
the
I'm-
turkey stories?
Definitely hear the stories of the hunting between we go over there. And our dads talk about it. So
So did you supply dinner for or Thanksgiving dinner for like
Yeah.
20 families that night, or how did that work?
Maybe not 20, but yeah, a good.
Everybody ate well that
Yeah.
Thanksgiving.
Oh, yeah. Big
Okay,
time, yeah.
fair enough. And then we've the two seniors here. I always like to ask this question: as far as your upcoming futures, since you're wrapping up the school year here in just the next few weeks, any ideas as to where we're going to be going next year, Riley? We'll start with you.
I'm going to Central Washington University. They have a rodeo team over there, so I'll be on that. Yeah.
Sounds like a crazy question, but it's a question I don't know the answer to. Scholarship money for rodeo?
Yeah, there is some scholarship money in there.
Okay.
So
Are you going as a scholarship athlete then? Or are you? Oh, you are. Okay, great. And Jacob, what about you? Where are you heading off to?
I'm going to McMurray College in Illinois for baseball, and I also got an academic scholarship there as well.
And what's the mascot name of McMurray College? Did I stump
A
you?
Highlander.
Oh, the Highlander. Okay.
Yeah, it's like a big giant, I think.
So Division 2, Division 3,
D3.
D3. Very good. And Carson, you've got a year left, so I'm guessing you have no idea
Yeah,
where you're
I'm
going.
still undecided.
You just know you're going to be playing Lynnwood Royal baseball again. Next year.
Yeah.
So we've got some interesting careers, interesting pasts along the way here for you guys as well. But one thing that we do know, Thursday is going to be a big game. Again, we think it's Snohomish at this point, but it could be Marysville-Pilchuck. Either way, Lynnwood baseball on the road Thursday, trying to advance to the district playoffs. Riley, Jacob, Carson, thank you both, all three, for coming in here tonight, and best of luck to you guys.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thanks again to the Lynnwood Royals baseball players for coming into the studio, and best of luck to all 4 of our Edmonds School District baseball teams this week. Hope to see you all in the playoffs next week. Speaking of playoffs, it's that time of year for soccer as well. We've got some soccer playoffs to talk about here. 3 of our 4 teams have loser-out games to try to get into district play this week. We've got Mountlake Terrace playing on Saturday. Still waiting to hear where and when, but we'll keep you posted. Meadowdale and Lynnwood each will have a match on Thursday night this week. And then we've got the Edmonds-Woodway Warriors, a team that's already punched their ticket to districts. They're going to be starting that action on Saturday night, but they've got a big game coming up on Tuesday first. And to talk about that, we brought 2 of their players into the studio. Here are Sebastian and Benjamin from the Edmonds-Woodway Warriors soccer team. The Edmonds-Woodway soccer team wraps up their regular season this week. They've already clinched a playoff spot. It's just a matter of now finding out where they're going to be playing and who they will be playing against. And with us right now, two of the members from the Warriors soccer team, Sebastian Olson, who is a midfielder and is a sophomore, and then Benjamin Banks, a junior who plays forward. Guys, I guess the first question right off the bat, 8-3 in league play this year. Third place right now. Sebastian, a lot of teams would love to have that record. I know the bar's been set a little higher at Edmonds-Woodway over the years. Are you guys feeling pretty good about where you're at right now as a team?
I think we were feeling pretty good earlier, but we started off kind of really well, and we were at the top of the league. And then over the last few games, we've kind of dropped a couple of games. These 3 games that we lost have been to lower teams like Mountlake Terrace and Lynnwood, so I think it's been kind of disappointing. So I think we have set the bar a little bit high for ourselves, and we shouldn't be losing these games.
And Benjamin, it's been quite the roller coaster for this team. This was a squad that 2 years ago made it to the state, I believe it was the semifinals. Last year they fell more into the middle of the pack, and now you guys are fighting for that third place spot right now. How are you feeling about the way you're at right now?
Fighting for a third place spot, it's not something we'd like to do. Like Sebastian said, we were at the top of the table at one point. Teams that we did lose to, we should have beat easily, but it's all said and done now. You can't go back. But the bar's set fairly high, and I think we should just keep reaching, and the season's going as is, and hopefully we win tomorrow. And if we do, we have a easy ride Saturday, and hopefully it just goes well after that. So.
And you couldn't ask for a bigger matchup to end a regular season. Tomorrow you guys are playing Shorewood over at Shoreline Stadium. That's Tuesday night, 7 p.m. And the winning team will take third place. Losing team will more than likely end up in fourth place. The third place team gets a home game on Saturday night. So if you win against Shorewood, you end up getting a home matchup to start off the district playoffs. If you lose, you're more than likely heading up to Bellingham to play Squalicum. Sebastian, that's a little pressure for you guys, isn't it?
Yeah, we definitely don't want to go to Bellingham.
Is the team talking about that right now? I mean, is it something that coach has brought up?
Oh yeah, coach brought that up earlier today in practice. We want to have that home game this weekend, for sure.
And Benjamin, when you guys are playing at home, how different is it? I mean, what is it like having the home crowd behind you guys?
Having the home fan base is actually great. I think we had our biggest turnout for our senior night, and just you could tell the difference as we were playing. The more people that come out to support, the better it is. Team feels more together. It's great. It's a bit more energy. It has to where beginning of the season we had parents out there, more away fans than home fans at our own stadium, which was a bit embarrassing at times. But as the season's carried on, and I think as people realized that we were doing good, they decided to come out. So if we get a home game, that could be big change and just a good factor to have on our hands and on our side.
So we will see. We'll keep everybody posted on myedmondsnews.com if they want to look into how the game against Shorewood turns out and whether or not they will, in fact, get a home game. As far as the team itself, any surprises this year? Anything that maybe has happened that you weren't expecting? Perhaps it's a player. Perhaps it's just the team in general. Benjamin, I'll start with you. Has there been anything like that for you?
Yeah, no, a few guys. One guy, actually, specifically, who was on a JV last year. His name's Usain, plays a striker for us. Personally moved himself down to JV last year, and then this year he's came up and he's actually done quite a bit for the team, has some assists, has some goals, important goals, mind you. So I think a bit of a surprise player who I didn't think would step up as much as he has done for this current season. So I'm just glad he was able to make it on the squad this year. So.
And then on Friday night, I know a tough loss against Mountlake Terrace, a 4-3 loss, but nonetheless it was senior night. You guys are both underclassmen, but for 10 of your teammates, it was their final regular season home game. Always kind of an emotional night when that happens too. Tell me a little bit about the senior group. Sebastian, as a sophomore, what have they meant to you, and what has it been like playing with them?
They've been great. Last year, I became friends with a lot of them, like Brock Blayhouse. He's been really great this season. Last year, he didn't play much, but then this season, he's started every game in center back, and he's really been great for us. And then a bunch of the other ones, like Logan Gendron and Lorenzo Rohani and Peter Sonev have been really strong for us in the defense, and they just make that team for us.
So it was senior night for those guys. For you, Benjamin, it was a chance to play against some of your former teammates. You went to Mountlake Terrace as a freshman.
Yeah.
What is it like when you get together with the Hawks? Is it an interesting game for you? Do you enjoy those matchups?
I enjoy the matchups when we win them, and sadly, last 2 years, been at Woodway, haven't beat them yet, so senior year's the last chance. But playing them, it's definitely something always goes down. It's never a calm match, but I love playing against them. They don't make it easy, never have. I don't think they ever will. But no, it's great to face them. It's a different playing with them. almost better to face them. I think I enjoy playing against them more than I actually did playing with them, which is...
So it's kind of friend and foe all at the same time.
yeah,
I
it's
would
just
think,
a
right?
whole bunch of emotions coming in at once, but
No,
love it.
I can imagine. And tell me about each other a little bit. I know, Benjamin, you correct me if I'm wrong. I think you're the leading scorer on the team this year so far.
Yeah, leading goal scorer, got 12 in the net so far. So
12 in the net. So, Sebastian, tell me a little bit about Benjamin Banks and what he's meant to this team.
Benjamin's been great. We have been struggling kind of to score in a lot of games, like against, I think, Marysville-Getchell was a good example of this. They were second to last, and then he came on and scored 3 goals, and with his pace and everything, it's hard to defend him. So he's been great for us going forward and attacking the goal.
Very nice. And then, Benjamin, what about Sebastian? What's the sophomore been like?
He was a young one, but he knows what he's doing in the midfield. I think, you know, when I'm just on the wing looking to find someone in, Sebastian is like one of the only people that like, shows to the ball. So I know if anyone else isn't open, Sebastian will be open. So he works hard, great effort on the ball, and he's also leading assist. So I think he has a few of those for me actually. So I love playing with him and just love giving him the ball and seeing what he can do with it. So.
When you're the leading goal scorer, it's nice to have the leading assist man right next to you, right?
Actually, yeah, perfect.
Say some nice things, right?
Yeah, I know, it's great.
Hey, tell me a little bit about the rest of the offense on this team. I mean, when we watch a Warriors match, who are we watching up there with you?
Usually when watching the match on the starting lineup, it'll be me obviously on the left. Usually Jackson or Usain will go up on the striking side, and Jackson's a great player. Also got a few goals for us this season. And then right side we have Gian, right wing, and he's a bit fresh out there. He hasn't really been out there too much this season, but when he goes out there, he makes the most of what minutes he gets and gets subs off. He doesn't get mad, and the rest of the people we put out there do the same. But they're just all great people to play with and do their job and make it work. So, yeah.
And so far, so good. Yeah. Sebastian, what about you? Who are you playing on the midfield with?
I usually start with Lamine or Anderson or Christopher Hamby, who just got brought up from JV, and he's been really great.
Noticing a lot of different names in here too, so it sounds like the names can be interchanged a little bit and switched around from time to time. It's not always the same starting.
We can get in some fresh legs and really take it to teams like that.
Always helpful. And then as far as on the defensive side of things, who are we watching on the back line?
The back line, we've had all seniors for pretty much the entire year. It's been solid. We have Lorenzo Rohani, Brock Blayhouse, Peter Sonev, and Logan Gendron throughout that back four. And then keeper Mackey, he's been playing the entire season. With Omar in a little bit, and he's been solid. I don't think he has a goal against for varsity, but Mackey's been extremely solid back there.
And tell me a little bit about the coaching staff. I know Coach Ochoa, second year, I believe, with you guys right now. How's that been working out for you guys, Benjamin?
I was a new coach to the school for his last 2 years that I've been there along with him. He's like really a great coach, and like he said at this point, he's given us all the tools that we need. It's just up to us to utilize them. Good motivator, and he always tells us that he can't want it more than we do. So I think that's one of the things that really sticks is that like he can't be on the field and play with us as much as he'd love to. He really can because he's not the one out there playing, and we just gotta when it comes down to it, it's just our job, and he makes that very clear that like it's up to us. Like if anyone's gonna have to finish this season good, high note, it's gonna be us. And so I just love how he tells us that in training. What he wants is very clear. He doesn't make things complicated. Like simple game, he keeps it that way, and it's just up to us to play it as he wants us to play. So.
And so far, it's resulted in 11 victories overall in the year. Hey, district playoffs coming up. We already mentioned that. Top 3 teams coming out of the district playoffs will advance to state, and this is not an easy West Coast season. You've got Marysville-Pilchuck, you've got Snohomish. We talked about Shorewood already. Shorecrest is in the mix there too. An improved Meadowdale team. Squalicum, who we don't even really know a lot about at this point, right? Are you guys excited for this playoff run? I mean, it's just a loaded deck right now, but you guys are certainly in the mix there, Sebastian. I think you've got as good of a chance as any. Are you guys starting to talk about it a little bit more?
Oh yeah, we really want to go to state. I think that's our main goal for this season is just to make those state playoffs and get one of those 3 spots.
Benjamin, is this a team that set out goals before the season? I'm assuming state was one of them, obviously, but what?
State always is a goal. Like everybody wants. I think everybody should want to make state. Like if that's not on your mind, I don't know why you'd even think about coming out and playing. Like I assume the end of the goal would be to hopefully win a state title, but it's not easy. I think that, like you said, it's just going to be a dogfight. Like really, when it comes down to it, like best teams, teams that want it the most, going to be the ones that come out and get those 3 spots and get into state. And personally, I think we have the squad and the potential and the work rate to make it into one of those top 3 spots and hopefully get into state and go as far as we can go. So
Very good. And since you're both underclassmen, and I know colleges are still a little bit ways off, I know you both want to play college eventually. I won't even ask you about your colleges at this point, but I'll just shift the conversation a little bit. Is it true that Benjamin's kind of the champ on the team when it comes to playing FIFA on video games?
listen, see the thing is, everybody says they can beat me, but I stand to this day. No one will beat me on any team. Come into my house, I'll give you the word.
Undefeated on FIFA so far, though.
FIFA in my house, yes. I
in your house?
I don't
Okay, so
lose
you
in my
didn't
house.
In his own house.
I don't know. Actually, we had a team dinner at Logan's house. Didn't lose there either. I think I'm a natural winner. I was born with it. I just don't lose at FIFA. It's mine. I claim it. The team. If anybody wants to work, please. Like, I'm willing to beat you. It's fine. It's okay.
So Benjamin's house is kind of like Edmonds Stadium. That's where you put your flag down. You say nobody's.
I put my flag down everywhere I go when I play FIFA.
Doesn't matter which team you're playing.
Nah, I'll let you pick the team you want me to use to beat you with personally. It's all right.
So then the other question that needs to be asked: who's the Fortnite champ on the team?
Nick. Has to be Nick, honestly.
Or Peterson.
Nick,
Yeah.
Peter, Logan's actually pretty decent, I'm not gonna lie. But my pick is Nick. Nick, we have a team group chat, all he puts is his victories in there, and it's like at least twice every week. Maybe twice every night actually for that fact. So I'm gonna go with Nick for Fortnite.
Okay, so you're gonna
I'm
dispute
definitely
that?
going with Peter. I played in a squad with Peter, Logan, and Lorenzo, and he got 16 kills and pretty much carried us. So.
I did do
There we
that.
go.
Okay.
So we got Nick and
pretty
Peter
decent.
playing Fortnite. We got Benjamin on FIFA, and we're hoping Edmonds-Woodway in the district playoffs, right?
Yeah.
Has a nice ring to it, doesn't it?
It really does. Trifecta.
There we go. But first and foremost, Shorewood, Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Shoreline Stadium, not that far away.
No.
Need to get people over there to support these guys. If you get the victory, you'll have a home game on Saturday night, opponent to be determined. Sebastian, Benjamin, thank you very much for coming in, and best of luck to you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks again to Sebastian and Benjamin for the interview, and best of luck, Warriors, not only on Tuesday night against Shorewood, but also into Saturday as they get ready for district play. We've got a few other sports we want to cover too before we end the show this week. Golf, the Edmonds School District tournaments taking place this past week. On the boys' side of things, a very tightly contested match. The Meadowdale Mavericks defeating the Edmonds-Woodway Warriors by 1 shot in team play. Mavericks taking the title out there. However, the Warriors get the individual title as Silas Putz shoots a 65, beat everybody else by at least 4 shots, and in doing so, he is our Action Jackson Plumbing Player of the Week. Silas, for your efforts, you've won yourself a t-shirt. Congratulations, and we will get that out to you. And then on the girls' side, it was the Edmonds-Woodway Warriors easily defeating the field there. Girls taking the team title as well as the individual title as Esther Jones defeated her Edmonds-Woodway teammate Frances Monahan by 3 strokes to take the championship. Track and field, the Shoreline Invitational took place on Saturday. Over 70 schools participating in this event, and we had some Edmonds-Woodway Warriors that we wanted to single out for their efforts. Yuki Parle, not a big surprise here. Yuki wins the 1,600-meter race. Also taking victories, the Edmonds-Woodway distance medley relay teams for both the boys and the girls. Well done to all of those athletes. And then the boys 4x200 team also winning the championship. And hey, while we're at it, let's throw out a few more names. Hannah Hicks takes second in the long jump. Aaron Richardson second in the 110 hurdles. And then Chinadu Achulanu, who was in studio last week with us, he took 3rd place in the 100 meters. So great job by the Warriors out on the track. And we will certainly bring you more track and field action as the season progresses, as they start to get into postseason action as well. And then last but certainly not least, we just wanted to mention tennis wraps up their regular season this week. Next week, we get into the Wesco 3A South Division Tournament. That will take place May 8th and May 9th over at Jackson High School. And when it does, we will certainly be relaying the results from that tournament and get you the names of some of our tennis players who are having success. So a lot going on right now in spring sports, and we are happy to cover it. And we thank you for tuning in this week to This Week in High School Sports. Until next time, take care.